this video, you're going to understand the difference between Lightroom and Photoshop and which one is best for you to use in this moment. Hello photographer, welcome back to my channel. For the ones who doesn't know me yet, my name is Silvia. I'm a specialist in the magazine style of maternity photography. In this channel, I talk about professional editing techniques to help you make more money with your photos. Now, let's get into the video. One question that's very common between beginner photographers is, what is the difference between Lightroom and Photoshop, or which retouching program should I start with? Lightroom is a much easier program for you to start editing your photos. It is definitely way more intuitive than Photoshop. It has a friendly interface. So right here you have all the editings that you can do in the photos, and it's pretty much just sliding to one side to the other. While in Photoshop, it is a totally different interface. You have many tools here and buttons, but you need to know what to do with the tools. You are going to be working with layers and creating filters and doing other more advanced techniques. So Lightroom has a definitely way more friendly interface than Photoshop. Also, it is perfect and very easy for you to organize all your photos here and give stars, color labels, and many other things that you can do to organize your photos. It's easy for you to do some basic editings or a little bit more intermediate editings on your photos as well. It is easier for you to build a editing workflow. This is really important for you to optimize your time when editing the photos, because that can take a lot of time. And let's say that you have many photos to work on, and let me just do some editing to this photo here. I'm gonna correct something, and this looks good. And let's say that I wanna have all my photos to have the same editing. You can just go through all of the photos that you wanna have the same editing and actually sync them. And all of the photos now will have the same correction that you just did in the photo in 1 second. It took me 1 second to do this. So this is something that you can do easily on Lightroom, and it is way harder for you to do that on Photoshop. So in Lightroom, you can manage large collections of photos and editing and syncing everything, while Photoshop is a more robust software, is a heavier program, and the idea is for you to work a few photos at a time. So you're not gonna open all of your photos from one photo shoot and try to work all of them. You need to choose the ones that you want to work with and just go one by one. So you won't really be able to have all your photos opened in Photoshop and sync all of them, how you can easily do in Lightroom. Another thing is that Lightroom is easier to export all of your photos as well. If you want to get all the photos that you have, you can go here. For example, I'm in the library. I can select all the photos and actually go to File, Export, and I can export all the photos at once. While in Photoshop, you would just export one photo at a time. Also, Lightroom uses a non-destructive editing, meaning that you still have the original photo files remain unchanged. So I can do all the editing right here, and if I want to go back to the original file, I can just go to the history and go back all the way to import, is how the original photo was import. But let's say that you don't have this option to go back all the way to the import. You will still have the original file, because the place that you saved your file in your computer is not actually being changed. Nothing's happening to that file. What Lightroom is doing is actually just creating a preview, so a kind of a fake photo for you to edit and see how you like it, and nothing's being edited in the original photo. So it's just like a preview where you're just doing a bunch of editing in your photos, and actually until you save the photo with all the editings, you do not have the photo that has all the editings. If you go to your file and try to open the original photo, you're going to see that the original photo is exactly not retouched. Now, talking about Photoshop, it's way more difficult for you to learn how to use the program. It is heavier. You can work in many photos at once, like how you can do in Lightroom. However, you have way more possibilities in Photoshop when we are talking about doing complex retouching or manipulation in photos. You have more precision of your retouching. Everything that you can do in Lightroom as editing a photo, you can easily do it on Photoshop as well. So let's say that I want to work in this photo here. I can just open a function here, the camera raw that I have here for this photo, and I can easily just work the same thing that I was working in Lightroom. I can work with the highlights, I can work with the shadows. This is pretty much the develop tab that we have in Lightroom. I can just do it in Photoshop as well. Now I'm gonna hit OK, and here's the before and here's the after, and I can do way more things. I have way more filters, I have masks, I have layers. Some examples of things that you can do in the Photoshop way better than you can do in Lightroom are things like skin retouch, dodge and burn, cleaning the scene, expanding the background, manipulating the client's body, manipulating anything and everything that you want. Even manipulating color and light, it is better in Photoshop. You can be way more precise with it. So Photoshop, I would say that's more for photographers who wants to become professional photographers and stand out more from the competition. It could also be for photo retouchers that are people that they don't really take photos, but they would like to edit photos for other photographers. So if you are a beginner in this editing world, Lightroom will be perfect for you to start, because it will cover the basic editing that you will need for your photo. Also, you can do some more advanced editing in Lightroom, like skin retouch and dodge and burn. It's definitely not gonna be as good as you can do it in Photoshop, but it's perfect for you to start understanding some of the concepts that will be important for you to use when you go and do all of that in Photoshop. So understanding about masks, we have some masks here that we can do. So for example, if I only want to work on the subject, I can select them and use the masks in Lightroom, something that you will be using a lot in Photoshop, but you can already understand the concept and the idea of what this is here in Lightroom, and you can just work on the mask. Definitely understanding more about this will be very beneficial for you later on with Photoshop. If you need help to learn any of this in Lightroom, I do have Lightroom for Complete Beginners. It is a free course where I will show you everything that you need to know about Lightroom, how to retouch your photos completely and professionally with Lightroom from start to finish, having a workflow that helps you to be organized and fast in your editing. I'm going to leave the link for the free course in the description below if you're interested. Another thing I want to mention as well is that for me and my workflow as a professional photographer, I do use both programs. As far for Lightroom, I like to organize all my photos, do basic editing, create a proof gallery, export all the photos as well. Now, only the photos that I sell are the ones that I will open on Photoshop for more professional retouch, but I do use both programs, and many photographers do use both programs as well. Even though Photoshop is a better and more professional retouching program, Lightroom is still very beneficial for my work, but I still recommend for you to use both of them and know both of them. Well, I hope this video was really helpful for you to understand better the difference between Lightroom and Photoshop, what you can do in each program, and the best one for you to use right now. If you're starting, I really again recommend you to start with Lightroom. Click the like button if this video was helpful for you. If you want to know how to start with Lightroom, have an editing workflow, learn some more advanced editing, check out my Lightroom for complete beginners. It was created especially for photographers who want to start making more money with photos, have more professional photos, and charge more for your service. It's for photographers who want to have photos that stand out more from the competition. Also, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every week. For now, this is everything. Until next time.